Hello everybody, so you may have noticed that audio just completely cut out right here. So basically what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do some post-commentary on this video, because I didn't start my mic up right for this episode, and yeah, I'm not excited about it, basically. So what's happening in this episode is shit seems to get really weird. Here's where Yuri starts fucking up, and getting weird. I'm not used to post-commentary. This is so weird for me. Let's see if I can expand the video while I'm doing nope, can't do shit. Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I put into my bag. Alright, it's fine. Here it is. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's something I used to. I was just reading company. I see. Well, just let me know if I end up distracting you or anything. Alright. I'll put the book in the prologue. I'm not sure how much actual reading of the things I may do. I may just kind of insert some stuff here and there and talk about, basically just talk about things as I go. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I wasn't able to read that part right there. I'm not quite sure what it says. But I went here in the history to try and see, and I looked, and this is where I realized that none of the weird shit that happens is actually in the history. I actually called Zach after this episode, because this was the last episode of my recording session, and he basically informed me that I was correct about a theory that I was developing that I didn't mention in any other previous episode. But because it says it throws an exception when Sayori hangs herself, in the background it throws an exception, or it says it throws an exception. And so I really wanted to go in and I wanted to dig for those files where the exception was thrown. And I may or may not make an episode about me digging through these files to look through them, but I basically have to dig through the files at some point anyway, and I may or may not record it. We will see. Here's where she's explaining this book. So the way she explains this book gets kind of weird. It's the same book as before, but she explains it differently and she talks about it differently. It's about a tribe. I saved right here. It's about a tribe of people that end up being cannibals, and then there's some weird sciencey shit that happens. Yeah, it's weird scientist limbs, you know, whatnot. And Nerplum here explains that I'm not sure if we're quite there yet. Oh god, he's still going through the book. I forgot how long this part was. So far, though, I am really enjoying this game. This game has thrown me for a loop that I was not expecting. Zach actually commented in one of my previous episodes, he's like, how's it hanging with Sayori? And that tipped me off so hard that Sayori was going to hang herself. I figured that it was going to happen, but I was not expecting it still when it did happen, so it did end up really throwing me for a loop right there that I was not expecting. And random shit happens. I forgot what I talked about right here. Oh, this is where I was talking about, basically, Nerplum just mentioned that Yuri reminds him of the main character of this book, which Yuri kind of freaks out about because he's referencing certain mannerisms that the character has rather than something the character actually does or is doing or something about the character. And Yuri freaks out and thinks he's talking about that, and then she realizes, oh, we're not even there in the book yet. Don't worry about it. She pulls at me and she's like, hey, just don't worry about it. Don't fucking worry about it. Oh, and then Monica's asking about her. So at this point in the game, I'm pretty sure I've figured out that Monica is fucking everything up. She's throwing her hips there like she always does. They ain't lying, but they killing. Hips that could kill. If hips could kill, that would be this episode. And basically, I'm gonna try and dig through those files and see what I can find. I'll probably record it when I do. I'm trying to remember if any crazy shit happened in this episode. I believe some does. Oh, this is where we start reading the poems. The poems are pretty much the exact same. So we start out reading Natsuki's poem, dots, dots, question mark. And then it gets that. It caught me off guard again. Oh boy, that caught me off guard again. I was not expecting that again. It's so fucking funny. Apparently, I was talking to Zach too after this episode. I told you how I called him. He wanted me to call him. We talked for a good hour about a bunch of different stuff. But one of the things we talked about was the random gen in this game. So apparently there is RNG in this game. He told me very, very, very little about it. Basically, that there's a certain chance that certain things will happen. And so obviously I asked about the eyes popping out. And apparently that's like a 33% chance that will happen. So we did get a semi-uncommon thing to happen. And apparently there's also a less than 1% chance that something bad will happen. All the things that can happen are all cosmetic and stuff like that, pretty much. It doesn't fuck with the game too much. Here we read her poem, it's the exact same. And so cosmetically, it changes things, and it gets really fucking weird and freaky. And you can also go in and like mess with these files, and it messes with the game, and there's certain... apparently there's certain files. Zach basically, he threw me a little hint, and he was like, hey man, if you want to get the true ending for your viewers, you gotta go and mess with these files. And he's like, there's a weird type of file that you'll notice that isn't, an actual type of file. And I figured it was just the one that was, the exception that was thrown when Yuri hung herself. I'm trying to remember the exact file type it was, but I'm sure I can look back. I can look back in the video and figure it out. And we can figure it out just fine from there. But I plan on going and messing with those. And apparently, like, Monica actually leaves notes in some of the files for the game. Oh, now we read Monica's poem. Monica's poem is a little freaky. I can't quite remember if it was the same as the first one. I think it was, though. It was one about... Yeah, you'll see it here in just a second. Also, I noticed that all of her tips that she gives are... like, they seem like they'd be tips for actually playing the game in some creepy, psychologically horror-y way. It's a good time. Also, I would totally suggest checking out some game theories on this, because that gave me something that wasn't spoilers. Not for this game, at least. Supposedly, there are some theories out there about the book that Yuri is reading. And this book that Yuri is reading, it's some sort of cult, a book about a cult, that eats people and weird scientist experiments. But supposedly, consider Doki Doki like a PT, almost. You wouldn't realize it was not its own independent horror game unless you really dug for it. This game is supposedly a teaser for another game coming out by the same game dev. And what he's doing is the book that Yuri's reading is actual... it's actual... what was I going to say? Oh, it's an actual teaser for his game that he's making later. And supposedly there's files that you can go through and dig through... and maybe it's written in assembly language or something like that, but basically you put it in a decoder and you can put it into a text file and then convert the text file into some sort of other file, and it displays... I forget if you turn it into an MP3 and then it plays some sort of image, or it plays some sort of sound, and then you can put it into a PNG. You can convert it into a PNG file, and then you have to loop it. You have to reverse it and do like 6 other things, and all of a sudden you get an image. And supposedly there's some like game theory videos or something like that out there, but I definitely recommend going and check those out because it's super interesting, and I'm really interested in checking more of these out so I can figure out more about this horror game coming out, and maybe it's something we can play on my channel too, if that's what you guys are wanting. I think at this point we just figure out that Yuri's poem is... No, this is Monica's. Yeah, that was Monica's poem. Oh, I just got a text from somebody. I wonder if this is important. I doubt it is. That poem from Monica, I couldn't remember if that was the same one or not. The more I think about it, the more I think it is the exact same as her old poem. I can't quite remember. I think it is the exact same though. But reading it now makes more... I want to say it makes more sense on how it relates to the game, but that's not quite what I mean to it. Like, I gotta say it is quite what I mean to it. It definitely reflects upon the game itself more. Here Monica's giving her pro tip or whatever, which also seems to really reflect on the game now. Which is, you know, of course, weird and creepy, and I hate Monica. I hate you. I hate her so much now. I'm so sad that from the beginning I picked Monica, and turns out Monica is killing people. It makes me wonder if she's going to start killing other people too, such as Yuri and Natsuki. I'm not sure if she will or not. We'll see, but Yuri definitely seems a lot bolder and a lot creepier. And if you haven't noticed already, just from the beginning. And she's vice president now instead of Sayori because Sayori's just gone. Sayori's gone, and even the images of her and whatnot are pixelated images and mashed together images of other characters, which is weird and creepy, and yeah, spoopy shit. This game really threw me for a loop. I had to take a mental break after my recording session with this game, which is at the end of this episode. Basically after the first episode I recorded in this session, I took a decently long mental break before I came back and recording. I think it was a good 20 minutes or so before I was able to come back and record and not be freaked the hell out. Got some water, or sat down for a minute, played that like tap tap fish game, you know, relaxed, just chillaxed, you know, just looked at my fish for a bit. And then I hopped right back into it, and after this recording session, I had to take a massive mental break because this shit fucked me up. It really did. This is a game that does a good job of luring you into a false sense of security from the very beginning. From the very, very beginning, I went into this completely blind, and I plan on staying completely blind, hence why Zach is probably not going to appear in any of these recording sections, except for when I give him a phone call for psychological and emotional support. Which is what I did in the episode that Sayori hung herself. But yeah, this game does such a good job of, for like the first hour and a half to 2 hours, just like luring you and luring you and luring you into a false sense of security and this and that. And all of a sudden Sayori starts acting weird, and you notice it a little bit, but you think she's just, you know, the depressed character that's just does a really good job of hiding it. And that's what you start thinking. And then at that point, I was a little weirded out. I was like, alright, shit's gonna go down. I know shit happens in this game. When I downloaded this game, I saw the tag of psychological horror, which I understand now. Boy, do I understand it now. It still, like I said before, it still got me. It still fucked with my head. I freaked out. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, you'll definitely get to hear some of my shock value and some of my reactions to her hanging herself. And so, yeah, I took a decently long mental break. It's at least an hour and a half later now. I work in half an hour, but thank God I, work like 30 seconds away from where I live, so I just need to throw on pants and head on over there. Man, this game. Also, it's freezing rain outside, so school's completely shut down today. That's how I was able to record. It said it was freezing rain at least, but when I went outside, there was no freezing rain. So I'm not quite sure. We'll see. So everybody that's out there, they're safe, this and that. It doesn't matter. You guys will all be hearing this later anyway. I'm not sure how quickly I'll get these episodes uploaded. Oh, here we go. Finally done talking with Yuri. I forget what we were talking with Yuri about. Something about, her own thing for me maybe, and this and that, and her liking books and me not liking books. So I'm not sure if that was a percent chance, because things sound normal again right here. See, that one sounded normal, that pan flute, but the first one sounded weird, so I think that might be a percentage chance to actually go wrong and for the notes to drop down a couple steps. Because it seems like those notes dropped at least like half a step, or at least one of them it's scooped under for the note, and it sounds creepy. It does. This game does a great job with its music. One of my favorite things about this game is the music, and not just because, it's all poppy and bubbly and, happy, I can get down with it kind of deal, like, get into it. But because of how well the music lures you into a false sense of security. I'll talk about this in a second, but first let me talk about what's going on right here. So what's going on right here is Yuri and Natsuki start arguing, and Natsuki really starts being way more bitchy, I guess you could say, towards Yuri, which is weird. Like, she was not this aggressive in the original game. And I didn't quite notice it at first until weird shit starts happening. And they really start going at each other. Which is like right here. Here she is where the call out happens, and she's like, oh, I didn't notice this, and this. This intro took way shorter. The intro to the game itself took way shorter because of Sayori being gone too, which I thought was cool. So back to the music though. So the music really lures you into a false sense of security itself, and then when it changes, it just fucks with your head, and it does such a good job of giving you that ooh little chill down your spine kind of deal. They're still arguing, and then it does little things like this where it's just all wah, 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 and here's where shit starts fucking up. She calls her a wannabe edgy bitch, and Yuri starts freaking out about it. This part really freaked me out a little bit, actually. I was kind of freaked out. Everything starts speeding up. Here's a really good example of how the music really fucks with you. This kind of it's like an anxiety trigger. All of a sudden everything starts getting staticky and the music speeds up to a different point. I'm not even sure if this is the same song anymore. It just sounds so different. Everything gets super, super creepy. And then something happens. Give it a second. Now you have to make a choice. So out of the two of them, Natsuki was being the bitchy one, so I choose Yuri. 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 And then there's Monika, who comes out of nowhere. Here I'm like, hey Monika, been a minute since I've seen you. How you been? Or at least that's what I did in the original game audio. Monika just she straight up freezes the game and then pulls you into the hallway. The game wouldn't let you choose someone. And here's where I pretty much end the episode. If you guys enjoyed it, I saved here. Like, comment, and subscribe. I love y'all. This was really interesting doing post commentary. Hopefully, I don't have to do it again because I'm going to be honest, I enjoyed it, but not too much. It's kind of, but I'll see y'all in the next episode. Bye bye.